Well, it's the middle of winter, so now is a good time to do a bit of pruning. It's especially good today because the weather's good. You don't really want to be pruning on a kind of blustery day just because disease can spread easily like that, and it's a lot easier for the plants to heal up on a bright sunny day. So I'm going to give this a bit of a prune. I planted it 8 months ago. Actually feel a bit bad about making that cut. It's a huge amount of the tree, but here's what they said to do. I think I'm going to go for it. I'd never owned a fruit tree before, so I was a bit scared of cutting it. You know, you pay this money for a beautiful big thing, you put it in the ground, and then you sort of immediately start hacking away at it. So this is the trunk or the central leader, and that came up a lot further. I got rid of that, and that's allowed the tree to kind of branch out. And if you look at the difference between the two, you can probably be able to see that it's done quite well, and it's coming out. The reason for doing that is I want to get light into the center of the tree. The more light means that the fruit will ripen up better, and creating that framework coming out wide means that you can fit more fruit on it theoretically. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to take out anything that's in this central area so I can keep it relatively open. Ideally, I want the branches to be at sort of 45 degrees so they can hold lots of fruit. Branches that come out, say, at 90 degrees like that are likely to potentially snap under the weight of the fruit. So with these two branches here, they're okay at the moment, but each one of these buds, as it starts to send out shoots, these two are going to crowd each other. So it's a sort of an either-or situation. This one's the best bet because it's coming out at a better angle away from the tree. This one's kind of coming back in towards the tree a little bit. So this one's also slightly thicker. So I'm going to keep this one, ditch this one. We had a big storm a few months back, and I was at a friend's place that had a tree like this, but much bigger and older. And all the weight of the tree, of the fruit on the tree in the storm, pulled this down, and it actually tore out the trunk and split it in half. I imagine that tree is now dead. So, I mean, now it's not going to cause the tree any harm, but it's worth getting rid of them because in the future, this sort of thing isn't going to do it any good at all. There's a few options with this one. At the moment it's growing down to the ground, so I don't want that. So what I could do is either cut it nearest a bud, which is facing the direction I want to go, which is that way away from the tree at 45 degrees. That's one option. Or the other option is just to cut the whole thing off here. I'm kind of thinking I might just cut it off here. The reason being I've actually got this branch here and this branch here. So this area of tree is going to fill out quite well. Some of these buds will probably grow in this way, and then that area will all be taken up, so I probably don't need that. It's quite a big branch. It probably doesn't look it, but it's actually a reasonably large branch. But what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5 there. I think that's enough. I think I've got enough of a framework, and I don't need that. So yeah, I'm going to cut that here. I'll need the levers. Those won't do it. There's a temptation once you have these things in your hand just to keep cutting and cutting and cutting, but I think I've done enough. You can see that there's plenty of space in here now for light to get in, and we've got some branches all coming off at roughly at 45 degrees, so we're done. I'm going to leave it there for now. So this is the wood that I removed from that tree, so you can see it's not a huge amount for a tree of that size, so it will survive that. Just giving these a little bit of a clean off with some meths. If there's any disease on the tree, you don't want it spreading from one tree to the next. So meths or alcohol or whatever, will get rid of it. I absolutely love this little tree. I don't know why, it just looks nice. You know, with a tree this small, it's probably only, I don't know, a year old, maybe 2. I didn't plant it, it was already on the land, but yeah, you should really remove all the fruits so that it's so that the plant's like using its energy to, you know, put its roots down and grow more foliage and not waste it all its time on these little fruits. But I don't know, I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to see what they're like. But yeah, I just always wanted to have my own mandarins. There's just something awesome about that. They're so much better than the stuff you get in the supermarket. You know, sometimes they kind of lack flavour and can be a bit watery in the supermarket, but these are amazing. If you ever needed a demonstrable meaning of why you should prune a fruit tree, this is it. This is a nectarine tree and it was already here when we got on the property. So it's the same type of tree. It's the other one we've just been pruning. But this one, what a mess. You've got like branches growing out all over the place. And I think when you get a tree like that, it's just not very healthy. So Kelly, my wife, and I, like over the summer when this fruited, we were so excited to have our own nectarines. There were loads of them. So we picked them all, put them in these bags, and then we realised that there was this bug getting into them. And so I think we must have eaten about 2 of them, and the rest of them all just went rotten. I'm going to catch the goodie. So I've been working on the tree to try and improve it, but it's difficult. Firstly, there was grass covering all around it, so I stripped all that back, terraced it a little bit, and I put in this lavender in the hope that it will, I've read that it will get rid of the bugs. We'll see about that. And I've also planted a bit of comfrey here, so I'm just doing everything I can to bring it back to better health. But the main issue with it is the fact that instead of having one trunk, so you normally have one trunk or central leader and then you have sort of branches coming out from that. And what I think has probably happened here, as I guess this old bit is probably the original trunk, I think, going up through here. And it got diseased or whatever. And then we have this whole series of other trunks that have all come off from the bottom down here. It just doesn't create a good framework to hold fruit on. That's the problem. It's actually quite difficult to know what to do with this one. I mean, one option might be to make that the kind of central leader, get rid of these, and then hope that some big branches will sprout out from that one. But that's a huge amount of wood to cut down, so it's not something I could do in one go. It'd have to happen over the course of a few years. But for now, I'm just going to kind of trim it up a little bit. If you've got an opinion on it, let me know. I'll be keen to hear it. The tree behind me is a lime. I don't think I'm going to do anything to that one. It looks pretty happy by itself. It's just cranking out the fruits. You know, when we first started coming here, we used to avoid the UK winter and come over for the summer. And I remember going into the supermarket and seeing limes, and they were $30 a kg. And I thought, what's going on here? This is ridiculous. you know, because in Europe prices are lower and they're pretty stable throughout the year. And now I live here, I kind of realise what's going on. That firstly, citrus, it doesn't fruit in summer, it fruits in winter. So you're asking for a winter food in the middle of summer. And so where does it come from, you know? And there aren't many countries around here. We're a little island in the middle of the Pacific. And so if you want a lime, it's imported from the USA, you know, the other side of the Pacific. So it's, in a sense, it makes sense to me now, and it's like a crazy thing to do. Why would you eat a winter fruit in the middle of summer? Since we started living here, I feel much more kind of connected to the seasons, and I'm really enjoying all of this. I'm learning a little bit about how to grow food and how to prune trees. It's a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching this week. Join me next week, where I might be making a water system for, well, I will be, yeah. I'm going to make a water system for the bus, work out how to get water in, how to get hot water into the bus. It'll be fun. All right, check back then. Thanks so much for watching.